Whoa, big whoopsies. Good stuff. Whoa, big whoopsies. Big whoopsies, good stuff. Big whoopsies, good stuff.
Works. I think that might work. So let me do this. We'll start a little early, I guess. 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 So, I think that works out. Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, loud and clear. How am I coming across?
You're coming in loud and clear to me. Now let me check stream. Coming in loud and clear to me. Now let me check stream. Coming in loud and clear to me. Coming in loud and clear. Alright. I think that's as good as it's gonna get.
Cool.
Until I figure out how to actually do this thing. There's
The
no one
Gorilla Podcast.
Yeah, there's no one in the Twitch right now, but this is as good of a welcome as any to
Hey.
the premiere episode of Ready Podcast, guys.
Don't call it a comeback.
We've been here for years.
Years. Oh boy.
But that being said, I want to do something a little bit different since it's going to be the first time that this is going to be out there for everyone. And that is, I want to take a little time. Because this is going to be a lot shorter than what we're used to. We're used to doing, what, like 3-4 hours nonstop?
Easy, just
Yeah. This
non-stop.
is going to be closer to 2.
Okay, so it seems we got a curated podcast right now.
Yes. But
And
I want to, for sure, we're going to basically put together exactly what it is people should expect out of this.
Kind of like a little intro preview demo disc, like a PlayStation demo disc situation.
Like that. Kind of like a mission statement, but not as white collar suit and tie. Just something
good.
along the lines of where we both come from in terms of entertainment, what we've seen, how it affects us, and how that paints how we look at what's to come.
Cool.
So that way, when we talk about things in the future, people can understand, oh, well, he's coming to this in this way because this is how he understands what he's looking at.
I feel like something like that also will come naturally the more people listen, but yeah, why not give a little primer?
It's nice to like have a little roadmap to see, oh, well, duh.
Well, yeah, of course, right? Of
Yeah.
course, he's a huge mark for giant robots.
So I don't want to throw you under the bus, but if you want to start by introducing yourself, then go right ahead.
Yeah, sure. Okay. My name is Justin, and I'm sometimes known colloquially as ToastInTheShell. Copyright, don't take that. OC, do not steal ToastInTheShell. And like, I guess Kazu, well, that's like the Melee days. Anyway, let's start from the beginning.
You're also known as sarcastic, from what I've heard.
Yeah, that guy. Also sarcastic, budding musician, fire bars about things that rappers do not spit bars about, such as magic cards and niche anime and Persona. All right, but the time is coming. So you know, I'm an avid fan of anime and video games. If that wasn't already clear, right? I like fighting games maybe a little bit too much. I'm almost like a collector of fighting games. I'm good enough to hold my own in a living room, but I can't do anything in a tournament. So I'm one of those, you know.
Yeah.
Huge fan of JRPGs. Been playing them for a very long time. Big Fire Emblem mark. Played every single one except for Three Houses. I'm switchless right now, so we got to work on that.
Oh, hold on. I forgot to turn my phone off.
Minor inconveniences. Okay.
And of course, it's nowhere near me.
Fun
There we
times.
go.
All right. Let's see. Yeah, no, I don't know. Let's see here. Let's see. Okay. Fighting games, RPGs, the Fire Emblems, of course, of course, of course. Love Castlevania. I will, you know, fight me in the Chaos Realm. Best Belmont is Julius Belmont. Don't even start with me. I don't even want to hear what you have to say. Oh man, Trevor's so funny. Shut up. Shut up. Just shut up, Adi Shankar.
Die,
I don't
monster. Monster.
Die.
Monster.
Right? You don't belong in this world. Ava, just step off, right? Yeah, and just all around cool guy. I love all genres of music, but really into damn rap musics. As such, I have I guess I have a career as I'm not a career musician.
I mean,
Nobody's paying
you're
for my
trying
shit.
something out. You're going down
I'm trying
a musical
something
path.
out. I'm trying something out, right? I'm doing what I can. I like
Yeah.
to spit my ish, right? Them hot bars and crazy fuego.
Now,
What else?
Justin,
Yeah.
what was
and-
your first anime?
Ooh, okay. Off the jump, huh?
Mhm.
All right. All right. Well, it's a twofold question. My first anime that I realized was an anime was actually Rurouni Kenshin, or
Okay.
Samurai X as it was localized, and that's just I knew from the start that okay, this is something different. Not only is it just set in Japan, it just does not look like my Johnny Quests and my Johnny Bravos and my Johnny Tests. Lots of Johnnies in my past. Right? I was like, this thing's different. But the first anime I ever actually watched was probably I don't know what it was localized at everywhere else, but I knew it as G-Force. I think it was also known as Battle of the Planets.
Let's
It was
take a look.
It was.
But yeah,
It
keep
was.
talking about
It was. Yeah. It was. It's the people dressed like birds. Science. I think it was Science Ninja Team. Gotcha Man. It was Gotcha
Yes,
Man.
it was Gotcha Man.
It was Gotcha Man. That was. My,
I should know that.
It's all coming together, right?
Yeah, no. I mean, we'll get to that for me in a second, but there's a
Yeah,
reason why I should know a little bit
Little
more about
Babby
that
Justin,
than I do.
Oh yeah, of course. I know your relationship with Gotcha Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but I guess well, Gotcha Man and Knights of the Zodiac, but because at the time I lived in another country. Oh, I'm from Trinidad and Tobago. I guess I didn't intro. It is a tiny twin island state in the Caribbean, the West Indies. Everybody thinks I am from Jamaica. But
Nah, dude, you're from Trinidad and Tobago. It's a completely different place. Two completely different places, in fact.
Yep, with one government, and that just confuses the hell out of people. I get a lot of, how can you be from Trinidad and Tobago? And I'm like, it's my
Maybe
stand
that don't
power,
make sense, but it is what it is.
right? It is what it is. Anyway, no, yeah, it was
I'm
that,
putting
and it
on
was
screen
Knights
a
of-
low artifacted GIF of Hawk from G-Force Gotcha Man.
Yeah, no, it was Gotcha Man and Knights of the Zodiac. I guess I saw those two around the same time. But of course, the proximity of my country to Latin America kind of predisposes us to get Latin American Cartoon Network. So, only half of the things were in English, and the other half was in Espanol. So I used to watch it as Los Caballeros del Zodiac, and it had the hypest intro song I had ever. It's so hype. It was just. Do you know I saw a video the other the intro to that on The Voice, and it was The Voice Peru, and I'm like, Peru. Of
that
course,
makes
right?
sense.
Yeah,
If you
Knights
hadn't
of
said The
Zodiac-
Voice Peru and had
Yeah.
just said The Voice, I would have said, there's no way there's an episode of The Voice where someone
Yeah.
sings the theme to Knights of the Zodiac.
No, lots of weeb contestants on Latin American Voice. You gotta check that out. Yeah, but it was Knights of the Zodiac and G-Force were the first different cartoons, and then once I kind of dug in a little deep with Internet 1.0, that it was the new hotness at the time. Had that young dial-up modem. Yeah, I figured out what anime was, and then when I saw Samurai X, I identified that, and I was like, okay, so I'm in this. I'm in this now. This is what I want. And
Okay.
that was pretty much it. Yeah.
And based on your experiences with Samurai X, El Knights del Zodiac,
Los Caballeros.
Los Caballeros del Zodiac, And GeForce, how would you say that tempered your expectations for anime that you'd be watching for the rest of your life?
I'm definitely really into strong characterization. To me, characterization has to come first. Even if they're fitting just archetypes, I need something that's impactful and strong, because art style is art style is important, obviously, right? But it's not my draw. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to watch things like Ping Pong. Like Ping Pong Club and freaking Aku no Hana. Actually, screw that. Aku no Hana was terrible rotoscoping. But
I'm glad we agree
like,
on that.
yeah,
That'll be a conversation for another time, but I'm glad we agree on that.
I can go for hours about Aku no Hana. Don't even. Oh my god, I love the manga, and they just killed me. Anyway, no, my expectations, honestly, from anime and just from media in general, I'd really look for strong characters first, and then I see how they fit in the setting. Obviously, I can't just have really amazing character and then just make Blanderson settings and then be like, this is good for me. No, that's not the case. Otherwise, I'd literally just watch everything with Norio Wakamoto, except MD Geist.
Yeah.
MD Geist was. We'll talk about MD Geist. But yeah,
sure,
no,
we'll talk about MD Geist. But
big character mark, big on Heroes of Justice. You know, big on space.
yeah, I mean that's pretty fair.
Yeah, that's just me. That's just like that's the groundwork, you know. Okay. And I love a story that, you know, is not afraid to be a little non-linear, you know. You know, Masaki Yuasa's stuff is just, you know, beautiful, you know, and not for nothing, a lot of his stuff just isn't very impressive. It's hard for me to get people to like certain shows that I've been into simply because they're just so deterred by the art style. But if just like a few more people would look at Lulu Over the Wall or Army Galaxy and I feel like it would be better as an audiobook sometimes. Yeah. I wish I could just recommend it as that.
You know, it's something about the visuals of those kinds of things, though, that actually ties me into them more than anything else.
Yeah, absolutely, right? Mind Game, Tech on Kincrete, stuff like that. But that's my expectations.
Yeah. Just putting in some visuals, some quick little snippets of exactly what it is that we're talking about.
Yeah, I know. I'm dropping a lot of esoterica episode 1. I'm sorry.
It's fine. It's just I'm doing my job.
Facts.
Now, I'm gonna swap gears a little over to myself.
Mm-hmm.
Now that we've gone through a little bit about yourself, for me, I think my first anime that I realized was an anime was probably One Piece. Now,
wow.
That wasn't my first dub. That wasn't my first subbed Japanese anime. I think that might have been Love Hina.
Oh my god, Love Hina was the first anime that I ever acquired a full collection of. I gotta be careful what I'm saying here. Do I have to? Statute of limitations?
Yeah, maybe a little bit. Just dance around it. I wouldn't be super blunt and concrete about it.
I came into possession of them in the early days.
Some of us do in the early days of anime. But
indeed, the Wild West. But continue.
Yeah, so my first anime that I realized was an anime was One Piece. And that was because I had seen someone read the manga, and I knew manga at that point had already come from Japan, because my first manga was the Pokemon Adventures manga.
Oh boy.
Because my mom picked me up one of those in a Genovese once.
And Electric Tale of Pikachu?
Yes, I actually have the Electric Tale of Pikachu. I have all 4 volumes of it, and they're sitting in my nightstand.
Classic,
they're all colored on and written on and horrible looking. But,
as one does.
Yeah, they're still near and dear to my heart, and I will keep them until my dying breath.
I know the feel.
Now, that isn't to say that was my first anime. My first anime was definitely Pokemon. Absolutely. No doubt about that. I watched Pokemon and Digimon, and then I realized, oh, well, there's this comic for Pokemon, and then I realized, oh, well, One Piece is a comic, and it's also got this guy with a weird Japanese name. I guess it must be manga. I guess there's probably an anime. Oh, that's One Piece. I recognize that.
Gotta connect those dots.
But, I guess as far as actually watching anime in Japanese goes, I'd have to thank Newgrounds for that.
Oh man. Yeah, we can all thank Newgrounds for a bunch of stuff, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot to say what my name was. I'm
Yeah.
Raphael. My voice
Mysterious
might be
stranger.
my voice might actually Justin's voice too, but my voice might be familiar to those of you who watch the Make the Check sessions on Fridays as Marco from Blood Price, and Justin is Orlando Kaminari from the currently on hiatus show Warring States. That'll be back
It
at
is
some
I.
point, I swear.
The golden thunderbolt across time. Kaminari Orlando.
Now, I'm born and raised in New York, specifically Queens. I've loved shows of every variety, live action, animated, what have you, pretty much since I could think. I've just been attached to the idea of stories told with pictures, or stories told not even necessarily with drawn pictures, but stories told with a physical medium. So whether that be acting, or whether that be TV acting or movie acting, because those are all kind of different things. I prefer those to stories that have to do with things that have happened, or things that are being told to me because they happened somewhere else. Now, unless that story is particularly interesting, I just tune out of it. Or unless I'm interested in the person telling the story, then I tune out of it. But I'm also very big on understanding a story, if that makes any sense. So, I first discovered this when I was in high school, when we were talking about literary devices in movies, and my teacher brought up Gone with the Wind, which I had never seen before, but I knew was considered like this great movie that everyone watched, and I didn't understand why. And then we watched Gone with the Wind in class. I think it took us like 4 or 5 classes.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
But we watched Gone with the Wind, which is incidentally, for some reason, how I learned that Ashley was originally a boy's name. But it is also how I learned that Gone with the Wind has the first cinematic crane shot in movie history.
Is that a fact?
That is a fact. They, if you watch every movie from the beginning of film, starting in the 1910s, to Gone with the Wind, not a single one of those films uses a crane shot from above. And they use it for this scene where they essentially zoom out across this large town, which they had to build the entire set of, and see just all these dead bodies from the Civil War.
That's a budget.
Yeah.
That's a budget right there.
Not all of those bodies were actually people.
Well, yeah, but still, though, I mean, like, first time doing the thing. It's like, all right, I want you to take this camera. Okay, take it off the ground. Wait, what now? And then put it in the air. Wait, what now?
Just keep sending it up into the sky. How high? Until I tell you to stop.
Are we allowed to do that? We're allowed to now.
And learning that that was the first crane shot sparked something in me to go, every crane shot in every movie ever has this particular source in common, even if they don't know it's from that source. So, every crane shot that's in every movie happened because somebody saw somebody use a crane shot, and that person saw someone else use a crane shot, and that person might have seen Gone with the Wind.
And thus, the mimetic transference of art styles continues and techniques.
And essentially, filmmaking is a rat race to see how much of these mimetic devices we can use in tandem and still keep people entertained. Now, a lot of people don't see it that way. A lot of people just see it as a face value kind of, if I'm interested in it, I'm interested in it. If I'm not interested in it, it's not worth my time. And that's fine. You're allowed. In fact, everyone's allowed. Because otherwise, we would all just be too deep into film, and that's not for everybody. Because that would ruin it for everyone. But it is nice to have a healthy idea of understanding in terms of where things come from and why you understand or enjoy them. I think. And that's where I come from on this spectrum, which is watching a show and going, why am I a fan of this? What is it about this thing that I enjoy so much? And can I find it somewhere else? Some people might say that that's trying to chase a high. Maybe.
Maybe.
Maybe I'm just hopping from medium to medium to medium to catch that spark that I really enjoy seeing in something new and fresh that I haven't seen before, that I can go, oh, that reminds me of this other thing I enjoy.
Look, you're just a media hedonist. It's okay.
I am a media hedonist in all forms, but I use it as a strength.
Yeah.
And I use it as a strength to construct or deconstruct what it is I'm looking at, so that way, when it comes time to understand or lend credence to something, I can actually do so with words, as opposed to, you know, which so many of us do. It's actually quite surprising. If you were to just talk to somebody about something that they like, and go, what exactly is it about this thing that you enjoy? Not everybody can put together the words that that quantify exactly what it is they enjoy about what they're looking at. And I say that knowing that there are some things that you and I enjoy that we can't do that for either.
Yeah, it's really hard to pitch some of the stuff that I like, and you're way better than I am. Sometimes I just defer to you.
Sometimes it's still hard. Like, I just enjoy Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga. Like, I can't describe how viscerally I enjoy the speed of Bros moves. It's just like, I just like how fast it is. Like, I can't explain it. I can't boil it down deeper than that.
Just say that you're a Cacletta stan. People would be like, "Oh yeah, man."
That would betray the fact that I'm actually a Fawful stan.
Oh, okay. I feel you.
Yeah, but obviously, from that statement, my love of media doesn't just lend credence to movies and games and comic books. It also lends itself to video games. And on this podcast, I am hoping that the two of us can talk about the things that we've experienced and the things we hope to experience and why those experiences mean so much to us.
Absolutely.
And I think that that's a good 20-minute summation of what people should expect when listening to Ready Podcast Guys.
And, we hope to entertain as well as inform.
Yes.
Because, hell, I can't tell you the amount of times that I've just been in conversations and picked up way more about something that I never thought I'd want to try, just based on hearing the kind of energy and the kind of verve that people put into talking about things they love. And I think it's important to talk about things you love.
Yep.
And maybe you can transfer some of that love onto someone else mimetically, not in the creepy way,
Transfer your love through me.
Love transfer, activate.
All right. So we can start off with things we've watched lately and see where that takes us.
Okay, I got stuff for you.
All right, sure. Because I had to jump back into things. You were watching things closer to current events more than I, who was doing nothing but watching speedruns and TTRPGs before 2 weeks ago, when I was like, I probably should do some work for the podcast.
I wasn't absorbing that much, but I could lead off with, one of the things I've recently been looking at.
Sure,
and
so we'll
it's
start
not
with
an
the
anime.
segment. We'll start with the segment, What Are You Watching?
Oh, what are you watching? That's a throwback from nowhere. I'll start with something. It's not an anime, or I guess some people would like it. some people would argue it's an anime, but that's between you and your god and the anime pope Jeff Thu.
That is actually a podcast we are probably going to have at some point. Just
oh boy,
hey, this is live action, but it's still an anime. Shut up.
Bro, wrestling is anime. I'm not even going to get into it. But the thing that I'm talking about right now is Seis Manos.
Oh, yeah, Six Manos. Yeah, you were telling me about that. I was going to say Aaron would probably argue with you about the Netflix show Last Chance U being an anime about college football.
Oh boy.
But yes, tell me about Seis Manos.
Okie dokie. So, hold on. My cat is insane.
No worries.
Oh, there we go. She's fine. I have a cat. Yeah, Seis Manos. So basically, I guess if I could give it like a short blurb, the best way I would describe it is if Quentin Tarantino had a favorite anime, which he does. It's not this. It's Cowboy Bebop, but if Quentin Tarantino had come on, right? But if Quentin Tarantino had to make an anime for the little kid version of himself, although I don't know a little kid version of himself would be looking at something that violent. But basically, it's Seis Manos. It's this spaghetti western, kung fu flick kind of just. It's like Jackie Chan Adventures meets The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly meets, I guess, Enter the Dragon.
Those sound like three of my favorite things. But the question I wanted to ask you, is it Jackie Chan Adventures where Jackie Chan doesn't want to hurt anybody and is holding a baby through a ladder factory?
Unfortunately, it's none of those hijinks. There are a lot of hurt people. There is no pulling of punches. A child actually dies in the first episode.
Oh, not for no.
Minor spoiler. A child actually dies. And it's like, oh, okay, so this is what we're dealing with. But no, the anime, it's done by Studio Powerhouse, I think, which are the same guys who worked on the Castlevania thing.
That is indeed different directors who worked on the Castlevania thing.
Yeah, I believe it's Studio Powerhouse.
Actually, I should put on a graphic of Seis Manos.
Yeah, and there's just there's a lot of strong characterization in like your three main protags. Silencio, whose gimmick I'm sure you can guess. I guess it's not really a gimmick.
Is he Black Bolt?
No, he's just a quiet silent? Man. He's just a quiet man, but with good reason.
Quiet man.
No creepy realistic video game. What is that? Is that game like Dutch? What is that? What is it's so European.
I don't know, man.
I think it's French. I don't know. It's a weird game. No, it's there's Silencio, and he's a quiet man with anger problems. I'm like, whatever. But then they delve into his backstory, and it's like, I would be angry too, but I wouldn't be very quiet. Then you have Isabella, who is your middle of the road, keep the team together kind of. I guess she's the de facto leader, but it's more like she's a linchpin of the team. There's no real leadership per se in their team. It's really hard to even call it a team. It's kind of just like, do you remember the movie? Oh God, I'm dating myself. Do you remember the movie Three Ninjas?
Of course I remember Three Ninjas.
Oh boy. Okay. So yeah, exactly. Three shit kids going around saving the world from big goons. Okay, so we got three adults. They're not shit kids, but they've got teamwork, Yeah. But there's no, well, I'm the one with the blue headband, so I tell people what to do, and I'm the one with the green headband, and it's just
I'm the one with the orange headband. All I do is eat pizza.
For real.
Wait, sorry, that's the wrong show.
Oh, it's indiscernible. Oh God,
or
the ninja, the ninja connected universe, the unified theory of ninja media. For real.
I'm the one with the blue headband and the orange jumpsuit.
Believe that, homeboy. What? What anime is that? Nabari no O. Look me up.
Man, I forgot about that.
Yeah, OG Ninja. I'm telling you, there's a ninja unified theory. I got it. No, but yeah. So it's these three siblings. It's Silencio, Isabella, and Jesus. And I'm just gonna call it right now, Jesus, best boy. Oh my God, he's this portly man with a drinking problem, and of course, if you have a drinking problem and you study Chinese martial arts, there is really only one martial art for you.
Is it crane style?
Oh yeah, the crane that hangs out at the bar all day. So he's a drunken fist master.
Of course he is.
He is, right? Right. And they do play up his drunkenness for laughs, but he's not like a bumbling idiot most of the time. When he's a bumbling idiot, it's because he's just drunk, not because he's like, "Ooh, look at me, silly fun! I fell down. Actually, I did 2 rolling backflips and I punched you with my hand behind my back through my legs." No, he's like, "No, I'm just drunk today," right? But when he fights, it's astounding. And and without giving away too many details, they basically fight, the cartel, which of course is a story in Mexico, right? But it takes place in the 70s, so it has this really cool vibe, and it allows for fun 70s blaxploitation characters like, oh god, I forget the character's name, but he's voiced by Mike Coulter.
Like
you
Black
may know him.
Dynamite.
Yeah, he's a imagine Luke Cage just doing his best Black Dynamite impression, and it's just
I believe it.
oh my god, the dude is fantastic. Oh my god, why does everybody keep calling me a gringo? I'm midnight. Oh my god, gold, solid gold. And yeah, no, it's an excellent show. It has fantastic fight scenes. It's a little over the top with the violence, and the story is, I won't say predictable, but it's the things you expect from that kind of story, which is fine. Yeah. Because if you look at a Western, you're expecting certain things, you're expecting certain tropes. So, it's tropey, but it's not annoyingly tropey.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of depth, and god damn it, they fight chupacabras in the show. If that's not a glowing recommendation, I don't know what is. Right? Mexican orphan kung fu masters defeating chupacabras in the 70s with help from Luke Cage is just
that sounds like a glowing recommendation.
That's the sell right there. Do I even need to tell you anything else? So Seis Manos, it was really fun. Really enjoyed it. I've also been looking at as for this season, really only just staying up with My Hero. Gotta watch the young green Naruto adventures, My Hero Academia. I finally caught up with the manga again after a while.
All right.
And usually I find that when I'm reading the manga for something, and then you find out, as one does, that an anime has been announced, you kind of just check in to see if they did it justice, but you don't follow it through. My Hero, I stayed with it because, quite frankly, shonen battle manga it's just better in motion, right? And they do a fantastic job as always, and this season is amazing. Not really much to say about a bunch of things to say about My Hero, but
we could talk about My Hero for a bit.
I mean, we could, I suppose. I guess if I really had to think about it, it's just I like what they did with Lemillion in the previous season, and then coming off of that, I just really enjoyed the arc they're going through right now. It just the pacing is a lot different than it was in the manga. I'll say that without revealing anything too spoilery for people who still haven't seen My Hero. If you haven't, I'd suggest you check it out. I mean, it's the shonen.
Yeah, I don't want to spoil anything from that show.
Yeah, I don't really want to spoil it.
There's a lot of aspects from it.
There's a lot that happens now that's like you really, I mean, oh man, there's a lot. I don't even want to give fights,
no worries.
Then I have to give away the reason for it.
There are ways around it.
There are ways around it.
How do you feel about certain characters? Who are your favorites? Who would you like to see more of that you don't see a lot of?
The crawler.
Why are you looking at my notes, Justin?
Dude, Vigilantes is crazy.
Yeah, no, it's really good. Unfortunately, it's really difficult to find.
Yeah, no, for sure. I really like Lemillion a lot. I like his character simply because the best version of Kitty Pryde is the Kitty Pryde that says, all right, how can I JoJoify my abilities instead of just using them to ghost out of problems, right?
You know what? That is exactly what I appreciate about My Hero Academia.
Yeah.
More than any other Western-style superhero comic that I've ever seen.
For sure.
Because it adds that specificity of I will use my power in literally every conceivable way to get an advance.
Yeah, you have to gain advantage. It's otherwise guys like Best Genius wouldn't be number 4, you know? Think about that for a minute. Think
Yeah,
about the
no,
people
in
that
DC, someone like Best Genius would be in the same tier list as Mr. Terrific. Not to say that
thank
I
you.
don't like Mr. Terrific, but let's
But,
say
you know,
he's just
yeah.
very underplayed.
Exactly. And
If Mr.
underutilized,
Terrific
you know?
were in My Hero Academia, he'd be number 1 hero immediately.
Fair play, man. Fair play, you know? It's just like I am a genius. That works for Lex Luthor. Why can't it work for Mr. Terrific? I mean, I don't get it, right? Lex
Oh,
Luthor's
no.
main thing is that he's rich and smart. So is Mr. Terrific. He should be causing all sorts of just like awesome justice, but we'll get into that.
For those
but
at
no,
home, Mr. Terrific is a
Oh, yeah, you should
superhero
put-
from the DC universe. He shows up in Arrow. He is a black man, much like
indeed
us,
the black man.
who is known for his genius level intellect. I think he's like the 3rd or 4th smartest person in the DC universe.
I believe he's number 3.
Yes.
Last I checked. Yeah,
And
he's top 5. So
Yeah, he's in Batman territory.
yeah.
And he uses his intelligence, much like Iron Man would, to create future gadgets to assist him in fighting crime.
And he's got these cool balls.
Yes,
that just
most
do
noticeably
cool
his T-spheres.
Yes, indeed. Oh yeah, girl, grab my T-spheres, girl. Oh yeah.
All right, that is enough of that.
Okay.
But yeah,
no. Awesome characters, and you know, it's like I like that MHA really tries to do a lot with characters. Once again, back to characterization, right? Because it's not so. You know what I really enjoy about Lemillion, which I know I'm going back on him, but
No,
like,
it's fine.
God damn it, he's just, you know, he's great. There's a scene in the manga which they cover pretty well in the anime as well, where he describes what it's like to be in a substance when he's phasing in, and he describes it as just, you know, there's no sensory information coming to him, so it's like I'm surrounded by blackness, I cannot feel, I cannot see, I cannot smell, and he just describes, you know, the abject loneliness of being in that state, even if it's only temporary, right? And then just before that, and just before you know, it's too much for him, he kind of bounds out of it. So there's like, I think it's intentionally metaphorical, but you know, I could be wrong.
It's not only intentionally metaphorical, but just from that description alone, I can tell that he's the kind of character where, if you're familiar with My Hero Academia and you're familiar with the character of Medio and his bombastic nature, it explains why he cherishes the ability to emote in that fashion. Because it seems as though he kind of has that feeling of, I never want to be in a situation where I have to feel, where I don't feel. And
that leads into a really strong character moment involving a certain little girl, but we'll get to.
Yep.
Yeah,
That will
and it's
happen
just
at some point.
yeah, right. Where Deku's like, "Yo, help her," and he's like, but villains, and then Deku's like, "But feel," and he's like, "Ugh."
But being a hero.
But being a hero, you know, and it's like it's that constant battle between, you know, a hero's duty. It's kind of like what happened in season, I want to say 2, with Ida, with Ida and Stain.
Yes.
Where he becomes absorbed with, and we know, I mean, if you're familiar with MHA, Tenya Ida is Ingenium or Ingenium, right? And he's, you know, he's your typical type A, obsessed with rules and order and blah, blah, blah. You know, a hero must be this, do that, and karate chop the air. Must karate chop the air at high speeds. I've got engines in my legs. How does that work? Hey, right? Yeah, and he becomes obsessed with his brother's attacker, and it kind of pushes him away from his ideals. And you know, if you listen to the OP, you've got to keep those ideals, right?
Yep. That's what the OP says to do.
And so that comes up a lot, and it's kind of like why I really like MHA. You know, it's the story that it's telling through the characters, you know, and it gives them a lot more to chew on than just look at this cool shit that I can do with my engine kick. Check me out, I'm Kitty Pryde, but efficient. You know, they have to come to games to be a hero, and if they can reconcile that with their own versions of what being a hero
Yep.
means, but by the public standards is being a hero by what happens in the world around you, what the law dictates and whatnot. And then there's like, yo, but this guy almost killed my brother. I'm about to go give him this smoke, free
Speaking of
Scannium,
Stain,
free smoke, like smoke,
yeah,
right? Indeed, right? And same thing that happens with Mirio is that he has to allow himself to feel, but a lot of the time, for brief moments at a time, whenever he's using his ability, he is putting himself in an unfeeling state. And I think that I think the analogy that's probably being drawn here, I'm just guessing this, is that he has to find it within himself to push himself out of that unfeeling state, because he knows it's so easy to fall into, but he has to have the conviction as the hero to get himself out of that state in order to prove his own brand of justice, so to speak, right? And that's why I like Togata.
Yeah,
good
character.
He's a good character.
Now I'm reminded, actually,
I guess, is it still?
Sorry, what did you say?
I say another. I knew you were gonna say something. It's cool.
Yes, I was reminded that in Vigilantes, actually, Stain got a prequel story. Sorry, if you said something, I didn't hear you. We're doing this over Discord, so...
Yeah, you kind of dropped out, too.
Oh, no, I was saying, speaking of Stain, there is a part of Vigilantes where he got a prequel story.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. And I completely did not realize that it was happening until after I was looking up Stain at some point. Because I was looking at every villain's power set. And I realized, oh, wow, this character showed up in Vigilantes. I don't want to say who it is, just in case somebody goes out of their way to read Vigilantes. But
you should go out of your way to read Vigilantes.
You should go out of your way to read Vigilantes. It's good. It presents a similar ethos to the My Hero Academia, what exactly is being a hero question, and answers it in the same way Deku does, but without necessarily... Basically, it's two different characters arriving to the same conclusion in different ways.
Which is beautiful, which I think is the thesis statement of MHA. I don't know, I'm okay, I'm really selling this, wow. But like...
That's kind of what this is.
Yeah, it feels to me that MHA is kind of like a treatise on what it means to be a hero, which I know is a topic it's been done.
Yeah.
Right?
No,
of course, right?
It's been done since the dawn of time.
Yeah, of course. But it's just cool. I think that kind of lends credence to the idea that this is something that we think about as humans all the time, across all cultures and across all time periods, because we need heroes, you know? And what a hero is as much determined by that individual who's doing the heroing as the society that views what heroism looks like. Hell, have you seen Incredibles 2?
Yes.
Oh my god.
Very recently, actually. I only got to see it when it showed up on Netflix.
Yeah, like,
but
my god.
It's a good movie.
The whole perception versus reality and the whole, oh my god.
Yep.
And
the thing that I like about My Hero Academia in comparison to most Western comics that tackle the same issues is that My Hero Academia actually doesn't, in comparison to Western comics, would kind of just let's walk and talk kind of thing, in terms of we're going to tell the story, but we're not going to sit down and beat you over the head with like the literary devices that we're using, which is fine for Western comics, but I find that depending on the comic, those messages kind of get diluted by the fact that they're not really paying attention to them. Whereas in My Hero Academia, it's integrated into the story in a way that's digestible. And in doing so, the characters are allowed to kind of just sit down, look straight into the camera, and say, let's talk about the ethos of being a hero and what that means.
Let me explain my ideals.
Which is why you get such interesting conversations between characters like All Might and Hawks and Endeavor and Shinso and all these really interesting characters that all think differently about the idea of heroism.
Mm-hmm.
Which
It's really cool.
if you'd only been paying attention to Western comics your entire life, maybe you would have thought of it in two ways. maybe if you're particularly intelligent, 3 or 4 ways, but not like 6 or 7 ways, and definitely not ways of what heroism means to villains, right? or how villainy is determined in the eyes of a hero or villain. And
I think one place where I don't mean to interrupt you, just
go ahead.
when you mentioned what heroism means in the eyes of, when people talk about complex villains and if villains see themselves as such, I think I always go back to Sinestro, because Sinestro, the of course Green Lantern villain, Space Satan.
I think Space Satan is Parallax, my friend, the demon trapped
Indeed.
within his ring.
Indeed. Well, purple space devil guy, space Mephistopheles, I don't know, whatever. Anyway,
Magenta Spaceman.
magenta space evil face.
Magenta Space Evil Face.
There's your podcast title. I'm kidding.
I don't know, might be.
Yeah, no, but what I love about Sinestro when you mentioned that is that Sinestro thinks of himself as a hero, even when he's creating a totalitarian regime over his planet, because in his mind, the system of heroism that is enacted by the Guardians is something that has failed. The space police cannot stop all of the injustice that occurs on individual planets because they're out patrolling whole galaxies. And, sometimes you got to take things into your own hand. And while he won't abide vigilantism, he recognizes he's very Randian as a hero in that he speaks his power to truth, and he's like, well, I've got this ring and I'm off right now. I'm gonna patrol sector B, so I'm just gonna chill on my planet and publicly execute bread thieves. Why not, right?
Yeah.
Right? Eventually you do enough of those, no more bread stealing. And you know what, it kind of worked, but also it was
not
Nazi.
really.
Also not really, because it was basically space Nazi Germany, purple
Yeah.
space Nazi face, so
Magenta Space Nazi
Nazi
Face.
face. Oh god. So but like he comes at odds with like Hal Jordan, because he's like, you're not doing the heroing, I'm the hero. Where were you when my people were dying in the streets? And he's like, dude, I didn't know. And he's like, exactly.
Dude, I probably wasn't even alive yet.
Yeah, and he's like, I
talk.
don't care. Real talk, but I don't care, right?
Hal Jordan,
And
I do not find your answer acceptable.
Right? Slick back hair, do not care. Sinestro bitches, boom, mic drop. But like, he believes firmly in his own brand of justice, and he still thinks, down to the end, he's just like, I'm doing what needs to be done. And I think Stain too is I really like Stain, man, because I think Stain, because Stain's there. All right, so Stain is committing homicide, yeah, but he's killing in his mind phony heroes.
Yes.
Yeah, right. Well, even not so much bad people,
in his
but just
mind,
like phony
it's bad
yeah.
people, and those bad people are funny heroes.
Yeah, and phony heroes are bad not because they're doing bad things, because obviously even your average Booster Gold can save hundreds of lives, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I love Booster Gold, right? But what I'm saying is, I love Booster Gold.
No,
Oh my
I know.
God. Yeah, but like
We'll
he's
probably
getting
end
rid
up
of.
mentioning Booster Gold in every podcast.
I was literally thinking about him yesterday, just like minding my own business. I just saw a star on like something, and I'm like, man, I wonder how Booster Gold is doing. Like he's an old friend. But
You just see his cloud face in the sky like a JoJo character.
every time, bro. But the thing about Stain is that Stain believes that, I think Stain thinks of himself as like a white blood cell going around removing the antigens of fake heroism, because he believes that it weakens the body of a society. Because if All Might, like, he recognizes All Might, right? All Might's the real deal. All Might is the barometer by which he measures heroism. So it's like you gotta be like 2 degrees of separation away from All Might to escape the axe, basically, right? And anything else is just kind of diluting the tea,
Wonder what he thinks about Endeavor.
I wonder indeed.
Incidentally, just to peel back the curtain a little bit, it's those kinds of questions that I ask myself that keeps me interested in these kinds of critical lens kinds of things. Where you take a character who's presented into a certain situation, and they're only presented in that one situation, and you have to extrapolate, based on that situation, how they would feel in other situations.
Absolutely.
Like,
and that's, yeah.
Like, we know how... spoilers for My Hero Academia Vigilantes. I tried to dance around this, but I don't think I can. So... cover your ears if you're listening to the live version, and if you're not listening to the live version, just skip ahead a minute. Now,
all right.
The character Stendhal ends up becoming Stain after meeting the Crawler, and he's my favorite dude. What's his name?
Knuckle Duster.
Knuckle Duster. And that's how he becomes Stain. It's because he's directly confronted about his idea of heroism. And is proven wrong. And then he gets bashed in the face, which is why he looks like that.
Let's not forget that.
And then afterwards, you get Stain the character who shows up in My Hero Academia. So you're lucky to see him interact with two other people and understand how his ideals clash against them. Which allows you to, if you were to go back and reread or rewatch the Stain arc, see the idea of Stain in a different light. Now, you might not gain as much insight as you did when you sat down and looked at Stain in the first place, but it does help detail in some of the picture that you're looking at. And those kinds of things are what I enjoy about these kinds of conversations.
Yeah, because characters are a tapestry, at least I think they should be. And, the thing about tapestries is a lot of the threads are behind it, and you can't see that. Right? Right? So much is going on.
Sage wisdom.
So much is going on the other side of the rug. You don't even know. Yeah. But all of those things come together and, create this.
Sweeping shit under it.
For real though. Oh my god. Don't even remind me. I have to clean my room. Oh my god.
Oh man. But, I'm staring at my closet right now.
Dude, I have Clothes Mountain. I have the Clothes Andes is just a range of just like separate clothes mountains. Each
Clothes
put into
Magic Mountains, the Disney attraction.
I got basically. I got like Clothes Mount Rushmore. I got the Hokage Monument of Clothes. Each pile represents a different.
If you leave Clothes Mount Rushmore alone long enough, someone's gonna come by and say that it's a national monument, and you won't be able to take it down anymore.
Facts.
All right, but enough about My Hero Academia. Unless you want to wrap up.
I mean, just it's a great show. I've been keeping up with it. There's only one other anime I've been truly just keeping up to date with recently, and it's I guess it's another popular one. Hooray for Ufotable. But I've been looking at Demon Slayer, Kimetsu no Yaiba.
Oh yeah.
And I know. Oh god.
No, it's okay. We can talk about it.
I can't get away from it. But I have to say this. I got started on the manga like a short like I want to say like just before it came out, just at random. And I was looking at it, and honestly, I thought the drawings were a little bit prosaic. I thought the backgrounds were kind of non-existent, but the characters were interesting. So I got into it, but I fell off, right? And then sometime later, I saw it on Crunchy, and I'm like, oh, cool, that thing. Now I don't have to go back to the manga. And then I saw Ufotable. No, because honestly, the manga is all right, but it's nothing compared to the adaptation. It really isn't. This is it's one thing to look at, say, like Berserk or Kengan Ashura, and you see or Baki, and you see the art style and the draftsmanship that goes into the manga, and you see the panel layout, and everything is a carefully put together piece of work. And then you see the adaptation is just like, oh, look, here's when he punched the guy. Here's a close-up of his musculature. And it's like, this just pales in comparison to the manga panels.
I actually saw a meme about this exact thing. Where it was, I want to say, Gohan and Krillin meditating across from each other. Mm-hmm. And it said, people who read manga trying to imagine how the fights are going to look in the anime.
Doing your best, you know?
Yeah,
And
no,
it's like,
and that shows here, honestly.
yeah. And the thing about it is, I could not have imagined reading Kimetsu no Yaiba, the fights looking the way they did in the adaptation. And that's just practically because, Ufotable, I feel like there are two production companies that when they get their hands on something, they're really great animation companies. Absolutely. They're a bunch, right? But there are a few of them who take something and they adapt it and then they turn it into an almost a completely different animal. All right. And I think for me personally, those two companies are definitely Shaft and Ufotable. And Shaft hasn't done a lot lately, but I just remember looking at well, the guys at Shaft are crazy. Akiyuki Shimbo is crazy. The man is insane. He's just like, what if he'll look at Zetsubo Sensei and be like, what if we threw text on the screen at 5,000 frames a second? And it's like, what? What if we just had a CG moment? What if we had sketch art here for this panel?
What if we only had static background?
Jesus Christ. And then you look at the manga, it's like, what? How? I don't even talk about what he does to books. Then nothing can stop him. Right? And then Ufotable, who just, the money is it's just vomiting money on the screen. Every single time, Tanjiro uses, his water sword nonsense, it's like, you got to stop and be like, so there's real water there, right? And then you think it's like, no, it's just a visual effect. And the effect is stunning.
Yeah.
Stunning. Or every time Zenitsu uses his lightning stuff, it's just like, that's
you mean whenever
real
Zenitsu
lightning.
falls asleep?
Whenever he falls asleep. And the crouching. I've never seen such a perfect representation of the crouching tiger, hidden badass, crouching moron, hidden badass kind of trope. Mm-hmm. It's like lying loser, like hidden god. It's just he just lies down, wakes up, wrecks face. It's just it's crazy. But it's a gorgeous adaptation.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's just it's definitely a fun ride. I can see why people lose their shit over it. The story is still just shonen. Fight the demons, cut, kill, beat the bad guy. I mean, like, I've seen Yu Yu Hakusho, so it's whatever, right? But like, I've seen Yu Yu Hakusho. It's like
I am absolutely right there with you.
Even yeah. No, yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
I only started reading Demon Slayer because I haven't watched the anime yet. I've mostly just watched clips of whatever parts of the manga I'm interested in.
Okay.
Like
you can compare the fight scenes. It's crazy.
It's working out for me that way.
Okay.
But yeah, no, because honestly, I have a lot on my plate. I don't really have as much time as I used to watch anything that I like. I can't just watch everything that comes across my plate like I used to do way back in the day. When it would just be, this is the list of anime coming out this fall. I'll just watch everything. And I would. And I did it for 4 seasons straight, I want to say. I watched literally every single anime. All of them. All the shorts, all the OVAs, everything. Even if I didn't care, I still watched it.
What did you sacrifice on that dark altar to gain such power?
Nothing. That was power I had all along.
If
anything, my bloodline techniques have been diminishing. But,
do you remember when you were? I don't mean.
No, go ahead.
Do you remember when you first got into, not so much got into anime, but when you first got into the scene, the practice of being like a fledgling weeb, and you had this amazing ability to just dilate time and just consume all media.
And I'll tell you exactly where it started. It started when I read One Piece. Because I read from the end of the Black Cat arc to Water 7 in one day.
Wait, hold on. Like with Kabaji?
Yep. No, from Kuro, who is the antagonist of the Black Cat arc.
Right.
Through the Dawn Krieg arc, through Arlong, through Logetown, through Laboon, through Whiskey Peak, through Little Garden, through Drum Kingdom, through Alabasta, through Jaya, through Skypia, through Long Ring Longland, which is actually what that island's called, the Foxy arc, through to Water 7. I read 11 arcs in one day.
It's a lot of pirates, bro. How? That's what I'm talking about, though. That's a stand power.
Good.
That's a stand power. That's just you just King Crimson your whole shit.
Yes, I King Crimson the entirety of One Piece. And you know what? It stuck. Right? Like, I remember almost intrinsically every single thing I've ever read in One Piece. And at this point, I've maybe read One Piece 3 or 4 times. It's still not to the level of our personal friend Kadeem.
Oh boy, let's not even talk about the true king of the pirates. Yeah,
but
that's the true king of pirates right there.
But yeah, no. So I still find time to read as much as I possibly can because there's just something about manga, for me personally, that I could stop watching anime tomorrow, but I will never stop reading manga.
Facts, absolutely. I think the closest thing I had to that feat was probably with Berserk.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I remember I binged Berserk from, let's see here, it was, let me see. I did from the beginning of the Golden Age arc, so he just joins the Band of the Hawk, right? Mm-hmm. And I went all the way through to the end of the Mosgoose arc, the with the evil Pope.
Yes.
Evil Rockhead Pope, yeah. So basically, I went from him joining the Band of the Hawks to Farnese and Serpico joining,
man,
and that was
Serpico.
Yeah, everybody does, man. That was a day.
Yeah,
that was a day. That was an entire day, and I held on to that. those are my cherished Berserk memories. And then the boat happened. So
and then the boat kept happening.
And then the boat just didn't stop happening for like 2 years, 3. No, God, the boat was.
How long? I don't want to remember how long the boat was. I feel like asking how long the boat was is like a one-way trip to Silent Hill.
No, the boat was way more than 2 years. No, the 2 years of fillers was Naruto. The boat was like Naruto times 1,000. Oh my God.
Well, that's only for the Naruto anime, correct?
Yeah, of course, yeah. The filler weight is just crazy, but filler manga filler. That was my first experience with manga filler. And then that was also my first experience with becoming creepily involved and interested in the lives of mangaka, and then getting thoroughly upset with them for not producing my art for me that I request. When I found out that Kentaro Miura was taking his time with Berserk because he was obsessed with Idolmaster, I'm just, what do you mean, bro? What do you mean?
As a quick aside before going back to Demon Slayer, you know that Kentaro Miura started writing another manga?
I know every time he starts something new, and it just pisses me off every time. I just
got mad when he did Googled Kentaro Miura and found a picture of a picture of Jotaro that he drew.
Him and Araki. I feel like they're just in some bistro somewhere. I just feel like they're in LeBlanc, just chilling with like, just like laughing at us over a cup of strong coffee.
Yes, but back to Demon Slayer. So I was reading the manga for that, and I don't have my my internet browser open. Otherwise, I would tell you exactly where I am in it. However, suffice to say that I've read a little bit further than where I think the anime currently is. And it's basically given me this weird stance when I talk to people about Demon Slayer, where, and this is something that we're probably going to talk about either next week or the week after, because I definitely want to talk about this, where I like a lot of these characters individually. Like, I like Zenitsu. I like Tanjiro. Yeah. There are aspects of Inosuke's character that I find very funny.
So
but
cute.
The overall, like I like pieces of this sandwich, but I wouldn't order the sandwich, if that makes any sense.
No, I get it. You know, you can enjoy a good club, but sometimes there's too many pickles.
I'm basically that guy who orders the Italian sandwich from the caterer and pulls out the peppers. Actually, not even. Because that's not necessarily what this analogy is. This analogy is I order the sandwich, and then I take it apart and only eat the meat and salami. That's what this is. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
No, of course not. You're allowed to like what you like in media. Nobody says you have to like it wholesale.
Yeah, and I don't think there's anything wrong with liking the sandwich. But I cannot help but look at people who are scarfing down the sandwich and going, really?
Yeah, I get that too.
And not in a way
because
that
I mean,
I'm
like, it
judging
looks
them.
great.
Yeah.
No, I'm not judging either. I mean,
Yeah.
it looks great. It's just, I don't think it's the killer app that people are making it out to be.
I feel like people are essentially... It's like, and this is another weird comparison, but it's like throwing the cape on James Brown before he's done with his set.
Ooh. Strong.
You know, like, I don't think Demon Slayer has quite yet earned the reputation that it currently has. The animation is stellar. Like, it is out of the park, 12 out of 10, with a
That's that
possible...
fate money.
Out of a possible 5.
That's that fate money. That fate
Like,
money just oozes.
It's
Unlimited cash works.
yeah, it is. I am the bone of my dash.
Right? Oh my god.
But
so
other than
much
that,
money.
it only has so much to show for it. Like, it's like digging into it's like digging downward into a ravine that you don't know is there. There's definitely payoff, but how shallow is that ravine?
Indeed.
Like, you don't know until you go all the way through
Hit
it.
bedrock, yeah, exactly.
And
then
from what my discussion with other people who have read the manga is, oh yeah, no, it gets to a certain point where the story just halts in its tracks.
Yeah.
And I haven't quite gotten to that point yet, but I'm starting to feel it.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a point in reading, and I'm sure that anybody else who listens to this who reads a lot can understand exactly what I mean, but I'll try to describe it for people who don't read as much. There's a point when you're reading something and you can tell that the pacing of what you're reading kind of just stretches out like a taffy machine pulling taffy. Like, what used to take a page or two to explain, or maybe a chapter, feels like it's being explained over and over again, or that you're hitting beats that you've seen before that aren't necessarily as punch-packing as they were when you first saw them. Or,
No,
for
definitely.
example, a bunch of people talking about Muzan, if I remember his name correctly. I'm going to look his name up real quick. Yes, that's exactly what his name is. A bunch of people talking about Muzan without it necessarily being important. Just, yes, Muzan shakes fist to sky. And it's like, yeah, we get it. He's a horrible guy. I'm not 100% sure what he's done, necessarily, except that he is horrible, and that, by implication, all of the things that people are doing in his name are horrible.
But you know what? You know what's interesting? Here's how you know what the polar opposite of that is, or I guess maybe not the polar opposite, but the better version of that is. Have you ever thought about? Oh well, yeah, well, dang, nobody's gonna be Kira for that. Oh my god,
Because that's what he is. Supposed, like,
the-
from what it seems like, as far as where I'm currently at, he's very much the, I just want to live a normal life, except I also turn people into worse versions of themselves.
There is that. That is the best example, but I was thinking about Lord Genome from
Yes.
Gurren Lagann. Because if you really think about it, in the first half of GL, and I guess minor spoilers for Tengen Toppa, I guess, fast forward.
Spoilers for a 12-year-old anime.
I know, right? 2007. It's like it was yesterday. No, but
It is 12,
basically.
isn't it?
Oh God.
I
yeah.
just said 12 off the top of my head. Hold on.
I believe so, right?
I'm checking. 2007, yeah.
Yep, it's 12 years. Wow.
I just said that off the top.
Oh man. Yo, what is the future gonna be like with old weebs walk? Oh Jesus.
We're living in it already.
We're living in it already.
We
That's another
literally
topic.
have people who are trying to revive the Get On meme.
Oh,
I, for one, accept our Get On overlords.
I have a get on video that I made in college that I have shown literally no one.
What?
Because the self cringe is too powerful. I cringed.
That's going to be the end slate for one of these.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
I
cringed
swear,
that
with my power, it will be done.
Oh my god! I cringed that into the depths of the darkest, deepest dungeon. Okay,
Right.
but off topic, on topic. But yeah, but about Lord Genome, basically, a lot throughout the first half of TTGL, everybody's fighting against the gunmen because the gunmen are doing these horrible, atrocious acts in the name of Lord Genome. The Spiral King is responsible for all of you. They make it very clear from the beginning that the Spiral King is responsible for all of the sadness and injustice in this world that people live in on the ground, doing their nonsense, being attacked by beast guys with face mechs, right? You know, magenta face mech hate. I don't know. But like, jeez, I'm pushing rope on that one. But when you finally get to when Nia gets introduced, right? His daughter, and you think, okay, here's where we get to see the bad guy pet the puppy, right? And when you discover, oh no, she was thrown into the trash because she asked too many questions, and it's like, okay, so we're meant to hate him. I think at that point they had me. I was like, okay, so cool. We just have to hate this guy. He throws out his children. He sends beastmen to hurt innocent underground dwellers. Everything he's doing is just super wrong, irredeemable. And then they get him, right? And then immediately after that, you realize everything that Lord Genome was doing was for the protection and betterment of the human species. And he had no other way of going about doing it except for being a tyrant, because if he hadn't taken on the role as like the anti-Jesus, I suppose, here he is bearing the sins and all the evil in the world. I guess he's like Angra Manu in Fate, I suppose. Whatever. He's here playing this role that he has to play. He's the ultimate heel, right? But he's the heel who actually has a heart of gold, but he's healing because he has to.
That is a good gimmick.
Right? He has to be the heel, and no one must know pain. And it's okay because
fantastic kayfabe.
That is a brilliant kayfabe, right? And he has to be this bad guy, right? And it's okay because he can take it. He knows retribution is coming. He's okay with that. He's made his peace with that. Yes. He knows what he's doing for as long as he did it has actually helped more people than it's hurt. Because in reality, he's subjugating humans as opposed to the alternative of humans being wiped out the face of the earth completely. Then along comes a hero who's strong enough to stand against that villain, and he's like, all right, cool, you can end me, right? Turn me into a Futurama style head in a jar, right? You know? And I just love Lord Genome as a character like that. And I feel like as far as villains go, especially in anime where, you know, they don't really get a lot of chance for depth, for true depth, you know, him versus anybody you see in Demon Slayer, it's a clear victory for him because, yes, you're allowed to hate him. Yes, you have to. Yes, people do bad things in his name. And when you find out like what his deal is, you can still hate him and feel okay, right? Because he has to pay for his crimes. But you can also understand why he had to do what he did. I don't think there's true redemption for any of the big bads, you know, in Demon Slayer. But, you know,
what I was
the
going to say
ongoing.
is whether or not that is true for Muzan remains to be seen.
Of course.
But you kind of get that feeling where, it might be something he's just doing because, and this is just, I'm pointing my finger to the stands. I'm calling my shot.
Let's do it.
Now, based on the way that Tanjiro has interacted with every villain from every arc so far, every demon that he's ever slain, being the demon slayer that he is,
as one
he's
does.
basically brought them to terms with what lacked, like the thing that turned them into a demon in the first place was always something in their human interaction that they lacked.
Of course.
Which
and he's able
then
to see that.
returns to them.
Yeah.
And then it's usually too late for them to realize that was what they were missing all along.
In a way, he's redeeming them through death.
Yes. Now,
right?
the theme for Muzan, in this very, very early context, seems to be he's running away from his problems. And the protagonists of Demon Slayer are catching up to him. Much like the weight of his crimes.
Well, you know what they say, man. The bill comes due.
Yes, the bill comes due. I'm still waiting for Mordo to show up in what's apparently going to be Doctor Strange 3, because he's not going to be in 2.
2? He's not going to be in 2?
Apparently not. Me? Did I ever tell you that joke that I made when Infinity War came out?
What?
Spoilers for Infinity War, I guess, but that's also at this point.
Statute of limitations.
That movie is so mimetic that if you haven't seen it, you probably weren't interested in seeing it in the first place.
Exactly.
I always joked, hey, whatever happened to Baron Mordo? Did he get dusted? Did people just forget about him? Did he ever come back? Maybe he just died.
Maybe he
what if
maybe he didn't get adjusted. Maybe he just became a claims adjuster for people at like an insurance company.
Maybe he watched a bunch of people get dusted, and he was like, well, there goes my plan to get rid of all the sorcerers.
He's like, damn, what do I do now?
Half of them are already gone. My vengeance is exacted, and I need to do absolutely nothing.
He's like, the bill, it came.
Yes, the bill, it came, and I wasn't even the one who delivered it.
Oh, man. To just have your purpose snatched out from under you.
Yes, but
yeah, back to Muzan.
The thing that I was saying, the call that I was shooting was they're not gonna get Muzan in one fell swoop. And it really depends on whether Muzan is Act 1 or Act Final. Now, the way that the pacing of Demon Slayer is going, I'm going to assume it's Act Final.
Yeah.
So, they're probably going to fight with him multiple times. And each time, something is going to happen to Muzan to make him think about the events that have played for him to get to this point. And it's not going to be obvious to us, the third-party viewer of the Demon Slayer story, but it is going to be made available to us in basically an IV drop. Right? This is how he's acting in this situation. This is how he's acting in this situation. And then you're going to get not necessarily the explanation or the excuse, but the series of events that led to Muzan. And how he feels like this is something he has to do.
Now, do you think that the ultimate goal is to sympathize him the way the others, or to humanize?
I think the goal in that sense is to show the pathology of Muzan, in the sense of he thinks that the only way to solve his problem is to continuously run away from it and to throw as many things behind him as he can. Because that is the way that's going to keep people from, to quote the Paul Simon song, I am a rock, I am an island, and the rock feels no pain, and the island never cries. If that makes any sense.
No, I get it, because I think he believes that the further he can remove himself from his problems, the less his problems will mean to him.
Which is why every time you see Muzan in any capacity, he's this stoic character who doesn't emote and kind of just wants to be left alone. He gets angry, absolutely. But he doesn't show vulnerability ever.
He can't afford to.
And the interesting thing about the demons in Demon Slayer is that they also don't show vulnerability until they meet up with Tanjiro.
Yep.
Whether they are about to die or not, they become slightly more vulnerable in front of Tanjiro. Because of how humanistic and humble and broken down Tanjiro is.
That's the importance of being earnest. Right there.
Little theater joke for everybody.
Oh my god. But it's true though. It's true.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely true.
It's like his real weapon isn't his swordsmanship, it's his sincerity, you know? And like at the end of the day, he's got a job to do. He's a demon slayer. They be slaying them demons, you be demon, time for slay, right? But he has to he's true to himself, which I think as a character portrait, Tanjiro stands alone, and he's really good. He's really good as that, as a function, right? As a function of someone who shows up and affects change within characters in the story, right?
Yes.
In a way that is not just like I mean, I guess it is temporary because they die right after, but I like to think that it's permanent and meaningful.
It's lasting and meaningful.
It lasts,
it's certainly
right? Yeah.
presented in a way that's meant to be lasting and meaningful, because you're not going to forget what happened to these characters.
Naturally, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's important. And I think characters who have that transformative aspect are really useful in a show. I just feel like as a whole story, it you know, it's good, but it's not enough to really carry it, to elevate it to that status of, say, like,
Yes.
I don't know, like Hunter x Hunter has transformative characters, right? Like Hisoka changes the people he's around as much as he is changed. Even though it doesn't seem like Hisoka gets changed, he changes, right? And, you know, even somebody like Leorio goes through a change arc. Somebody like Killua, who's just evil, cool killer kid, not so evil, not that cool. He's just kind of trying his best to get by, really cares about friends, actually is concerned with his family. At the end of the day, though, it doesn't turn him into a different character, right? He doesn't get debuffed. He just gets, I don't know, I guess a new costume.
The thing about the thing about Hunter x Hunter, and frankly, it goes for the other works of Yoshihiro Togashi, is that characters kind of just hit this curve.
Yeah.
Where it's not that they get any stronger, it's just that they get more efficient at handling things and emotion.
Oh, yeah.
And it's never necessarily
Kuwabara.
a physical threat.
Man. Yeah.
It's usually just, hey, I've been around long enough to see this happen a bunch of times. And it just so happens that I've picked up a few things along the way that, while they don't necessarily make me stronger, they do make me stronger.
Indeed. Like, intrinsically, they're more whole.
Yes.
I guess you could say. Which is excellent,
Yeah,
right?
and that does happen to at least Tanjiro in Demon Slayer.
Well, no, for sure. But, I mean, like, he better get that attention, you know? He's MC, you know?
The jury's out on whether or not that happens to the pillars.
I
feel like that's kind of what's going on in Demon Slayer at the moment, where it's like, hey, let's have an arc for each of the pillars. And I'm like, that is interesting, because I am interested in them. But do we gotta go through all of them now?
I mean, there's a spin-off manga, I believe, for
Rengoku?
God, what? Yeah, there's a spin-off manga, and
let me check.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, and it's like, oh, cool, we got pillar stuff. Hey, our pillar men are getting our attention. Awaken, my demon slayers.
Oh boy.
Oh,
but
man.
yeah, no, to sort of wrap these thoughts up in a bow, I feel like not enough of Demon Slayer has been presented to us for me to not think of Demon Slayer in this way.
Yeah.
Which might be incredibly wrong. Who knows?
Yeah, it could be one of the greats.
I don't know.
Yeah.
And that's kind of because of the way that the information's been presented to me, right?
Yeah, of course. Seeing the way that it's been coming at us, you can really only see it one way, but you never know.
Yeah.
You know? I remember thinking, even though this is not really a fair comparison because that series basically had a set time limit, it had a lifespan. But I remember a few years back, do you remember Cabaneri of the Iron Fortress?
I do. I was literally thinking about it during our intro.
Yeah, Wit Studio, AOT on trains, Attack on Trains, right?
Yeah, that's what people called it.
And I remember looking at it and saying like, all right, well, this is clearly derivative. However, it doesn't mean it has to be bad, right? And I remember looking at it, and I remember becoming instantly more interested with Ikoma, with the main character, than I was with Eren, right? Mm-hmm. Eren has only recently flown into my heart as a decent character after the time skip. Can I talk about the time skip?
I wouldn't know, because I don't really think very much. I don't think very highly of Attack on Titan. That's no secret to my friends. That is an unveiled secret to the podcast, I guess.
I guess. I don't know. Well, don't worry. Season 5's coming out next year. They're gonna finish it off. It's gonna be crazy.
But I do like Cabaneri of the Iron Fortress.
Yeah, and I liked it too a lot. Simply, just honestly, again, characterization, right? I'm like huge character for like I'm just big hole, big hole. Give me that Ikuma. It's just he displays a level. He just immediately from the jump he displayed a level of like ingenuity that you would reserve for like a JoJo protag, but he also had that kind of grit, that you get from your standard hot-blooded, shonen protag, right? A la carte, right? Yes. So it's like going to Walmart and looking at the prepackaged sushi, and then one of them has just like the finest fatty tuna and cod roe, just like in immaculate packaging. It's like, is this in the right section? And it's like, yeah, no, pick it up. And it's like, well, it's a dainty surprise. It's not your usual California roll, is what I'm saying.
Yes.
Right. And so I followed the series, and I was super into it. And the director, it's the same director who did High School of the Dead. So, Tetsuro Araki just does amazing work with that kind of stuff. So I stuck with it for that. And then the show kind of progressed towards this. It kind of hit a plateau.
Yes.
And then it stopped.
Yep. And now there's like 3 movies.
Yeah, and I felt like they throw those movies at the end. That's how you know something. That they're like, look, if people don't buy this, then that's it, right? And I'm a little disappointed. It's not like a guilty crown disappointment, but it's more of a it had all the markers for being something that could be, maybe not transcendental, but just great, just better than the usual, right? Mm-hmm. At least as far as just like look and feel and energy. The energy is amazing in it. Even the world building. I mean, come on, steampunk works. It just works, right?
Yeah. No.
Right. And all of those things, I feel it just took it to known territory in all of those things. It didn't really try to go beyond anything in any of those aspects. Not in setting, not in design, not even in just theming, not even in just even as far as zombie media goes. It's not really that amazing, right? Mm-hmm. And just one thing, I just wanted one thing to be truly unique, truly different. But it was just this hodgepodge of cool ideas, and then it just ended. And I think that happens a lot in media, and it's not always the fault of the production company. I'm sure the guys worked very hard on that, right? But I think when you get shows like that come in hot, I always worry about them teetering off.
Unless I'm reading you incorrectly, and correct me if I am, I guess you're worried that this might happen to Demon Slayer.
Well, it's not so much a worry. It's just a light concern, because if Demon Slayer just becomes another meh show that just had hype animation, it'll just be that. It will become AMV fodder and life goes on, right? Yeah. At least it will make for hype AMVs. But I'm not worried about the state of anime with shows like Demon Slayer coming out and not changing the zeitgeist. It's like,
no, nothing will ever change, frankly.
Right? Everybody's waiting. Everybody, I think in any form of media, people are waiting for the next class, the next thing to put into that legendary top 10. And I feel like as time goes on, it seems like the distance between true transcendental works just gets larger and larger. But I think in reality, things that are classics now, we didn't think of as classics when they were airing. Only the lens of time can tell you if something's truly changing, unless something is really mind-blowing and you can see it immediately, you know? Those are even rarer. But like, I imagine that maybe 20, 30 years down the line, AOT, Demon Slayer, who knows, maybe even Carbonari will end up on some top 10, top 20 list somewhere for something. If not a main list, at least a cult list, and
there's definitely a cult following behind Carbonari of the Iron Fortress.
There's a cult following for that lolly zombie character. There's a cult following just for her.
Right, so there's yes. I thought you were specifically talking about a lolly zombie anime, and I was like, which one? Because there's like 1,000.
No, not Goku dolls. That shit's funny though. No, I forget her name.
Mume.
Yes. The Blade Gators, so cool. With the shotgun, with the Winchester zombie killers. Yes. She's a cool character, but like, that design is just crazy. Yeah. She could be a fighting game character. That's so
I do have plenty of my own opinions about Cabaneri of the Iron Fortress, but I want to save them for a different argument about, in a different episode, about how far can one take one's enjoyment of something without necessarily going full picture. And
explain.
I'll explain in brief, but
Okay.
essentially I happen to like a lot of Cabaneri of the Iron Fortress, and I'm not quite at that level where I was talking about before, where I like some of these characters, but I don't like the overall package. I do like the package of Cabaneri of the Iron Fortress, to a point. And that point is a spoiler, which I will not discuss.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yes, I think you do. But suffice to say that there is a very large discussion that I want to have about how far can one go, oh, I like this thing, except for this part. But I still think overall it's great, right? Now, the thing that we're talking about that, let's say for the sake of argument, shits the bed. Shits the bed pretty hard. But I personally am willing to overlook it because of how much I like the rest of the picture.
Okay.
And that might make or break the idea for some people, and that's okay. But I want to play around with what exactly does that mean? Why do so many people teeter along this line? And there are definitely several anime that have this battle line, I'm gonna call it. Even
works.
animes that aren't necessarily cult popular animes, like Dragon Ball Z has this line, where some people really, really love it, and some people are just like, this is completely saccharine, and I don't want it anywhere near me.
Yeah.
But
There are those.
that's a conversation for another day. And it's going to be a very long conversation, so things to look forward to, I suppose.
That's the DBZ cast.
I wanted to get into what I've been watching.
Oh my god, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
It's very okay. No, look, I want to just get this also established, because this is the first episode. I'm not going to time anything on this episode, except I'm not going to time anything on the podcast except for how long the podcast is itself. If we don't get to something, we don't get to something, and we'll pick it up when we pick it up.
Cool. I have a lot of feelings. I'm sorry. I didn't.
No, it's fine.
I thought
I
was
have
so...
a lot of feelings, and however long we take to discuss those feelings, we discuss those feelings. But
yeah, I was worried I wouldn't have enough content. But
no worries. We have content for years.
We have a backlog of content.
We are like Trey Parker and Matt Stone. As long as things are happening in the world, there is no reason for there not to be South Park.
Facts.
Now, I am just putting together this slide, but I've been watching an anime that is probably going to throw a lot of people off if they don't know anything about me. And if you're watching the stream, the specific images that I've been showing on stream of what we've been talking about are going to be very different from the one that I'm about to put up next. And that is the anime that is called Are You Really the Only One Who Likes Me?
Oh my god. I saw go ahead. No, just go ahead.
And I've been reading Are You the Only One Who Likes Me? I want to say since the start of January. I've been reading this for a while, and I really, really like it.
That shit is crazy. It's like Snafu too.
Well, yes, but the thing that I like about this, in comparison to Oregairu, is there's a lot more nebulous, nitpicky, very real-life circumstances that the main character, his nickname is Joro, the main character goes through. And the thing that makes the main character different in that regard, especially in comparison to the protagonist of Oregairu, Snafu. The main character's name is Hikigaya Hachiman. The thing that makes Hikigaya Hachiman such an interesting character is that he thinks all of these crass, sincere, kind of really dark, morose things about people. Because that's just how he is. That's how he experiences the world. Now, Joro will say these things out loud. He's not afraid to call it like he sees it. And that puts him in very interesting scenarios in this world. Now, to explain the synopsis of this anime briefly, Joro finds himself surrounded by his childhood friend, whose nickname is Sunflower, and the student council president of his school, whose nickname is Cosmos, and his best friend Sun-chan.
You know what? The flower theming is really strong.
Yes, it's actually kind of annoying, but I like it. Now, it makes it really particularly funny because all of the girls are named after flowers, and his best friend is named after the sun. And flowers can only grow in the presence of the sun. The presence
of the sun.
Which is, oh god. If you know anything about the character that is Sun-chan, that makes it even worse. Now, he's basically, he's enamored by these two young women. And it's quite the obvious, hey, this is the childhood friend trope. This is the character who has been friends with Joro all his life. This is just who he is, right? And the student council president trope, which is, oh, hey, well, I'm the student council president, and I work a lot with you. And, ooh, maybe we, thing. Now, the thing that throws a wrench into this story is that both women approaching Joro ask for his assistance in dating advice for his best friend Sun-chan.
Oh, snap.
And his psyche is crushed. He immediately goes from this rosy-cheeked average high schooler to this cynical, world-darkened main character who, despite his hatred, is still going to help these women, albeit for extremely selfish reasons. That's
human too.
It's very human.
That too is human.
Yeah, and that is what makes Joro interesting in comparison to Hikigaya Hachiman, but I'll get to that. He goes into the assumption of, oh, well, whichever one Sun doesn't fall in love with, maybe they'll fall in love with me, and then, that's just extra bonus points for me.
Trickle-down waifu, man.
Yeah, the trickle waifu economics.
Oh, boy.
Trickle waifu economics is so much stronger than the Sinestro joke.
I know.
But yeah, so he essentially is helping them for selfish gain. Now, Hikigaya Hachiman is the kind of person who, despite his dark nature, is ultimately a selfless character. Which kind of makes him this weird blend between edgy and cinnamon bun. Right?
I think in Origairu, the thing that makes Hikigaya so I guess that's his charm. I guess that's his charm. The charm is the fact that he's not perfect, right? But you can tell inherently that he doesn't wish ill on these girls.
Yes.
He wants them to be happy, and he's not perfect, so he's not very gentle. He's not very considerate a lot of times, but he tries. He really cares, and you want to see him win with at least one of them. I think that's kind of the main draw of any rom-com, is that you kind of want to see the dude win because you want to put yourself in their position. But with Oriski, I think what's really interesting is the fact that I honestly wouldn't mind if he just ended up sad and alone.
Yeah, that's the thing that I was going to say, is that the be all end all difference between Hikigaya Hachiman and Joro is that at the end of the day, Hachiman is kind of selfless.
Yeah,
and at the end of the day, Joro is extremely selfish.
But you know what's crazy about it, though, and that's the last thing I'm going to interrupt you. It's just what's crazy about that is if you say yes to Hachiman and you say no to Joro, you are in essence being kind of a hypocrite because you're denying one aspect of humanity that you like, and and you're denying one aspect of humanity, of human nature, and then you're kind of accepting the other one and saying like, well, no, I'm more of a this, I like this, I don't like that. But both of them represent feelings that are as real and as human as, anything else. It's like, not everybody's going to be selfless, not everybody's selfless all the time, not everybody's super selfish or dark all the time. And while Joro may be a darker character per se, while he's clearly trying to satisfy his own needs and doesn't really care that much about, the emotions of these girls that he is toying with, essentially, just kind of passively, right? Is the fact that I don't think there's a single one of us who hasn't at one point in time or another, tried to, maybe not in such a overtly sinister manner, but try to, use others' situations, not necessarily manipulate others, but kind of manipulate a situation or let a situation play out a certain way because it would bring benefit to us. And it's like, I think that's something that people don't like to acknowledge. I think it's something that people don't really want to face. And I think it's like how I felt watching Motenai. It's like, it's like, I have been that cringy, awkward, just difficult to be around weirdo weeb. And I may not have been to that extent, but there's some episodes, there's some chapters of Motenai where it hits you and it's like, that's me.
Yep.
If even for a little bit, that's me.
I understand that completely. Now,
and recognizing your darkness at kind of the draw of a risky too, which is why it seems cool. So
the thing that is interesting about both of these characters in particular is that neither of them are necessarily bad people.
Of course.
In fact, towards the end of the first arc, which I don't mind spoiling because it's within the first 3 episodes, there's something about the Oreski anime that changes a lot of the pacing. If you want to see a more drawn-out, dramatic, really calculated version of what this anime does, I highly suggest finding and reading the manga. Because it goes more into depth about how these characters feel about each other, especially the part of the story in which, spoilers for this anime, Joro is essentially, the veil is lifted and shown for the entirety of the student body to see, and he is very much obviously alienated and cast aside by the rest of the student body. And he deserves it. And he lives with it. And the thing that is interesting about Joro is that he doesn't fight back.
Wear that scarlet letter. Just do it.
Yes. It's just, he has to do it. It's what happened. Because he realizes the error in what he was doing and how skeevy and manipulative it is. But once he realizes that he too was being manipulated, he doesn't take the situation and manipulate it. He simply does what he thinks should have been done all along, which is rectify the situation and make sure all parties understand that they were wronged. Which is not something Hikigaya Hachiman would do, interestingly, because Hikigaya Hachiman would be more interested in just letting sleeping dogs lie. The less people who know about what happened, the better. And the fact that these two characters do this weird convex-concave through each other is extremely interesting to me. Because other than that, most of the characters that these characters surround each other with are tropes of each other.
Quite.
Which makes me want to see, because as far as I am with the manga, there's only so much that they've actually shown. I think they're only up to the part with the blue-haired character that is a photojournalist. But
I think there's only like 4 volumes available right now.
Yes.
I don't even know. Yeah.
But there are characters that I'm seeing in the opening who I've never seen before. And I'm going, oh, more content?
More precious content.
Good for me. And I'm looking forward to it. And this
cool.
is one of those animes where I'd be lying to myself if I said I didn't like harems. But there are certain kinds of harems that I do not want to watch. And Oreski has the surface of one of those animes. I will not lie. It looks like that kind of anime. That's just, from a critical lens, big picture would just be, oh wow, all these characters are disgusting. But they're really disgusting.
You want that dirt.
But it's not like, what's the name of that anime? Kuzu no Honkai.
Oh boy.
I need to remember what that's called in English. Scum's Wish, which is basically about these two people who are kind of broken, who have crushes on other people who they probably shouldn't be in love with in the first place, and then essentially using each other to get back at the people that they are in love with. Spoiler alert, that doesn't really work. In fact, it kind of just makes everything worse.
What happened to good old, like, wholesome his and her circumstances? What happened to Karikano?
That stopped being interesting. Actually, that's not true. It still happens sometimes. Like most character studies that turn into romance animes are like that, where they'll study one character and then someone will fall in love with them, and the story ends with them falling in love. Or not falling in love. But, like, you get that romance, like, you get the romantic tension of what it would be like for two equal force magnets trying to be pushed together.
I think that we're in an interesting age for the kind of rom-coms that are being popularized right now, the ones that you're seeing in the public eye.
The ones that are all called sentences.
Precisely. But it's like, for example, you had Love is War. Love is War was last, right? And you had
Wants to Be Confessed To, for other people who might not know that by that name.
Yeah, right, of course.
That's how I was introduced to it, so I gotta rep that name.
No, I get it. I completely get it. Los Caballeros del Zodiaco. Come on, what the fuck is Saint Seiya? Who's what? What? No, but yeah, it's all about Seiryu, bro. What? Come on now. But no, it's like there are these, or way back, Wotakoi, right?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, right. We're still getting rom-coms in a sense because people like romance, right? But now it's more about romance through the eyes of character, these kind of character snapshots that turn into these in-depth character, like, explorations characters first, and then you put them in this realm which they may or may not be adequately able to adapt to, which is romance, and then we kind of see how things play out from there. And I think that's really important now, because a lot of times they can go in different ways. You have your deconstructionist stuff, you have your stuff that really explores, like, is love really necessary? Is it really that great? Or how do you right, is it, or like, how do you make the love go when you have to be a working adult and you don't want to be seen outside with your Switch? What the fuck is this dude doing outside with his Switch? Oh my god, what am I doing?
Are you looking out the window? I'm kidding. I know your window doesn't face that way.
Yeah, it's just there's a lot of, I think it's cool that rom-coms don't have to be just static. Not everything has to be his and her circumstances, because that's not a thing anymore, really. Not
Sometimes,
everything has
instead
to
of
be
getting his or her circumstances, you get the fusion of his and her circumstances in Bakemonogatari.
Oh boy, right? And I think too, there's not a lot of room anymore. I guess not now anyway, for your classic rom-com. Like, who cares if you get into silly hijinks trying to confess to your crush and then not let it happen? It's like School Rumble is great, but how many times are you going to do School Rumble?
Yeah,
Ouran
you
High
have
School
to make
is
it
fine.
really special.
Yeah, Ouran High School is fine, but how many times are you going to retread Ouran High School?
I don't know. I'm honestly, real talk, I'd like more Ouran High School, and I think a lot of the world feels the same way.
I mean, that's just comedy gold. Right? That's like a fighting game roster of different personalities that you can just pick and choose.
Yes.
It's very shonen-esque in that way.
Yeah.
But back to Oreski, but like, the landscape is changing.
Yes. Now, the thing that I wanted to say about Oreski, last but not least on that regard, is that it comes with my full recommendation, obviously. I think it's probably only going to be the 12 episodes based on the way that it's currently being paced, and I don't see them having a second season. So if you're looking for a really short rom-com that makes you think a little bit, I highly recommend looking at that. If you want to take a look at the manga, it's got a little more of that. It slows it down a little. I think like the entire first arc that takes those 3 episodes is more like 12 chapters. But yeah, so there's that. Now, for my second thing, I was going to talk about Elmaloy Case Files. I kind of don't really want to do that.
Ooh.
So I'm gonna switch gears, and I'm gonna talk about something that you actually don't know about.
My fate cast, no.
We can fake cast another day. I've been watching a playthrough of the visual novel NG, which is made by the studio who made Deathmark, which is a visual novel about an amnesiac man who finds himself in a mansion, essentially being forced to hunt yokai and ghosts, or his death mark, the curse that is currently on his body, will kill him. And the longer he goes with the death mark on his body, the more and more he forgets about who he is.
Huh. Wow. I didn't think that Zero Escape made another game.
It's not. As far as I know, NG and Deathmark are actually... Hold on. I accidentally Googled NG instead of NG Visual Novel and got Nova Gold Resources, the Vancouver Precious Metal Company.
Oh, good. You know, Canadian gold.
It is... Wow, it's coming to the Switch. That's interesting.
Wow. Yo, go Nintendo.
I'm looking forward to that, because I will definitely buy it.
The indie platform.
It is... Come on, show me the developer. You know, maybe I should do a little research before I talk about it.
It's fine.
We do this live, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, right. No hold barred.
But yes, no, it's by first off, it's by Ghostlight and Experience, and it's published by Axis.
Okay, well, no wonder it's on the Switch.
Yeah, now mind you, this is an extremely visceral visual novel. There is a lot in this story that is just death. Just a lot of death.
Are we talking like on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being happy-go-lucky mermaid melody peach peach peach, and 10 being Song of Saya? What are we looking at?
Somewhere between those two, I would say think Death of the Ninth Man and 999.
Okay.
So just viscera everywhere.
Okay.
But not
good.
like walls made of viscera.
Made of meat? No meat walls?
Nope, no meat walls.
Saya no Uta, ladies and gentlemen. Just play it. Show it to your kids.
Yeah, no. And if you don't want to show that to your kids, then show them Madoka instead.
Yeah. Don't play
Don't
that.
show either of those things to your children.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Unless they are of age and you are willing to explain to them exactly what's going on. Now, anyway,
unless you are dedicated to creating the next wave of supervillains.
NG
Don't do it.
is the story about a protagonist who is essentially, he's sort of like a delinquent who has ties to the mob. It's best described as what would happen if Ghostbusters met Yakuza.
Okay, that's a money game.
Yes.
Continue.
So it's essentially just idols having to fight spirits and shady reporters happening to know things about Hanako of the toilet, and just this really interesting idea of a family member being kidnapped by a yokai, and the yokai forcing you almost jigsaw-like to play games for the safety of that loved one.
Right.
And
no, I get it.
It's got this really interesting, almost Shin Megami Tensei-like RPG system, where when you confront the yokai in question, you kind of have to deal with them on a turn-based basis. Now, mind you, there are no health bars in this game. You cannot deal damage to these things. You kind of just have to call and answer your way through it based on reading comprehension, understanding of the lore that you've come in contact with, and hopefully different character interactions that you've made your way through. And you have to make some tough decisions.
Okay. Okay.
Yes, it's very interesting. All the characters are very fun. I've been watching someone play it, and they're about halfway through the game at this point, and it's gotten to the point where there are two characters that help you towards the very beginning of the game, and the antagonist goes, "Hey, so pick one." Why? No reason. Just pick one.
Pick one to die.
No, actually, they both get trapped under a telephone pole when it gets struck by lightning. One of them breaks their leg, and the other one ends up in a coma.
Oh.
Now, based on what you want out of the characters in this game, there is actually a tangible difference between picking one or the other. That isn't limited to simply character interactions and script differences. Because the characters are so different that they actually provide different things.
That is weird.
Yes, it's actually very interesting. I think you'd like Deathmark a lot. You'd like it more than NG. Because the way that Deathmark approaches itself is characters who are afflicted by the Deathmark show up to the mansion. And you, being the guy who's been at the mansion the longest because your Deathmark just won't seem to go away.
Yep.
You're like the Yu Narukami of Deathmark recipients. Where you're like, alright, what's your problem? Let's go solve it. And you have to go fight this shadow. And then you solve their problem, but your Deathmark doesn't go away. So you kind of just have to deal with it as things come.
So when their Deathmark leaves, do they stay with you to help out, or is it just like you're ousted?
One of them does.
I see. Alright.
And he's kind of an interesting character. You still talk to them, but they don't help like in the way that other characters do when they're actually invested. Now, that's different in NG because you're the only character who's cursed.
Oh, bad.
So this is more like a, we're kind of helping you and we're kind of invested for different reasons kind of thing. Like, they're not, Yosuke is going to suffer a mortal blow for you, but at the same time, they're not going to leave you high and dry either.
Right, because you being alive actually helps them further your goals.
Yes,
basically.
and it matters to them, because, they like you.
Oh, cool. Well, that's good. At least they like me. Jesus.
So that's something I've been doing and will continue to look forward to. Is there something that's going to be happening that you will continue to look forward to as we wrap up?
I mean, well, I didn't really get much to talk about the games I've been playing, but the games I've been playing are games that have been in existence for ages. I don't know why, but for the past month or so, I've just been replaying Nier Automata because that is one of the greatest gameplay, storytelling, combat experiences I've ever had on the PlayStation 4. I swear to God, that game is pure magic. I've also been replaying.
It's pure technology.
Indistinguishable when it's that advanced, right? I also like Doctor Who. Hey, oh yeah, or Abracadabra. There's that. Oh God, oh my God, I saw him in the Flash.
Oh yeah, no, I forgot that he's actually in the CW
in the CW
Flash
verse.
show.
Yeah, it's so obnoxious.
Yeah,
no, but
obnoxious.
But in terms of games, replaying Nier just for the story, for the feels, for the music. Good Lord,
good music.
And for another reason, yeah, and another game I've been revisiting, but just to kind of keep it fresh, is P5 because P5R is coming out.
And P5S, don't forget about that.
Can't forget that. Wait, P5S?
Yeah, Persona 5 Scramble.
Dancey Fun Time, or is that something?
That's Dancing.
That's Dance Moon Knight. Yeah, that's
yes.
Dancing Moon Knight.
Or is it Dancing All Star?
I know Star is 3.
Then it's Dancing All Moon.
And then Moon is and then Moon.
No,
is,
Dancing All Day or Sun or something. It's the one that's half a game. Anyway.
Yeah, it really is, right? But somehow it's canon.
But no, Persona 5 Scramble is a Muso that's being made by the Dynasty Warrior folks.
What the heck? Whatever. Just
I mean, it's a little more of a curated experience than that, but that's essentially the bare bones minimum of what it's being described as.
When you just walk around Mementos,
when we
definitely. But yeah, no, I've been replaying P5, just trying to get myself that good, strong, just like last hit of the original before the superior version comes out, and I inevitably spend my money on that again.
Now,
And
superior
I gotta
is,
tell you,
is a
man.
debatable message, but continue.
I mean, look, I guess I don't know. Maybe I've been spoiled by my goal and the answer, but like, you just, I just don't see how they could mess this up. Even if it's the same experience with a few things added, even that is enough to for make me be like, sure, take the cash monies. What new costumes? Whatever, fine.
Sure, yeah.
Whatever, just take it, sure. But no, I've been replaying it, and I have to tell you, Haru's S-Link is
The best one in the game.
it's really strong.
Yes,
it's
it
really
is.
strong. It's
And
really strong.
a lot of people don't do it simply because it's so late into the
She's
game.
so late. It's kind of doing her a disservice for her being so late, and trying to get her ultimate persona is just kind of crazy. The mother harlot nonsense thing. When oh my god, like Milady becomes a Astarte, but then you can like the ultimate, like, you know, there's like the transform version.
Yes.
And then you need to use that transform version to fuse to make the ultimate version of that Arcana, right? So for the Empress Arcana, it's just Mother Harlot, which is basically, I don't know if you're familiar with, I guess, the Book of Revelations, but basically, the
I don't know if you're
ultimate,
familiar with this little book. It's called the Bible. Skip to the end.
right, yeah, skip to the end with all the spicy bits. But there's this character, there's this
Those bits
entity
sure
in
are
the Bible.
spicy.
Yeah, there's this entity in the Bible who's just, she's the something of Babylon. I don't know if I can say it, but
Nah, don't say it.
I won't say it. But
The
she's
Lady of the Night of the Babylon.
she is the woman of negotiable affection of Babylon.
The call girl of Babylon.
The call girl of Babylon, the Enjo Kosai schoolgirl of Babylon. Okay, I'm done. Right, and you know, she's depicted on like she rides the beast, wink wink,
Yes.
and like blah blah blah, bringer of doom, you know, lord of fornication, blah 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 blah. That's the ultimate Arcana.
Yeah,
Right?
that sounds very Shin Megami Tensei.
Very SMT. 100. I sometimes I forget that Persona is SMT until they drop dudes like that in there. It's like
They won't let me forget because they put Mara in
And-
every game.
and Mara wants to, you know, help you with your taxes.
For those of you who don't know, Mara is a giant phallus.
Yes, indeed, quite
Who rides
quite
a
the
chariot.
phallus. Oh man,
I think he's actually part of the Chariot Arcana.
oh god, I bet. But I remember. So I was just I'm working my way towards now, and I just kind of think it's weird because Haru is such a sweetheart.
Yeah.
The last thing I mean, like obviously the Mother Harlot, like the Mother Harlot is an SMT demon, right? Like that's been around since like Nocturne, right? I think it first appeared in Nocturne, but it's just they know what they're doing when they put these, you know, demons into the Arcana, and they know what like, I feel like they're sending messages when they use different Arcana and different demons to produce certain demons, and it's just hard to imagine Haru being anything at all connected to the Mother of Harlots, you know, and it's just Mother of Haru. It's just
Haru Dotsu.
I don't know. It's just a small anecdote. You know, it's just
Yeah.
I'm sure there's like horrible imagery somewhere on the internet about that. But
I'm sure that's actually something that could be really dove in deep into, actually.
yeah, definitely. I'm sure there's a lot.
Much
probably.
like An with Carmen.
You know what? But on with Carmen makes more sense.
Yes,
I feel
Carmen
like-
specifically, but I'm saying like the
Yes.
rest of that chain.
Oh, the rest of her Arcana,
Which
Oh,
I don't
gosh.
remember off the top of my head, but I do remember what the personas look like.
Yeah, you know, so it's just, you know, that's just it though. I mean, like I've been playing that. I've been replaying. Nothing I've played is Katana Zero.
Yeah.
That game is great. You should just go play Katana Zero. Just do it.
Yeah.
Remember
No,
those scenes in Daredevil, in the Netflix Daredevil version, where Bullseye was doing cool stuff, like killing people with thrown bottles?
You know, I actually don't, because I never seen season 3.
It's not bad. It's not bad. It's sad that that's where it has to end, but you know what? There's a cathartic moment at the end between Daredevil and Kingpin that I feel is meaningful. If not a little, it's a little schlocky.
All right.
I'm not gonna
fair
lie,
enough.
it's a little campy, but it's acceptable camp because Kingpin is that kind of guy. He's very grandiose in everything. It's just I'd expect him to act like that. He Kingpin in the Daredevil Netflix show acts like what I imagine Marlon Brando thinks real life used to think real life was like when he acted. Like, imagine if Marlon Brando never left character ever. And he just walked off.
Are we talking pre Godfather or post Godfather? Or
yes. Right? He's just in it. He's that guy.
Yeah.
He is that dude.
No, that's fair. But
Katana Zero is great. That's what I'm saying.
I will have to look at Daredevil season 3 some point between now and next week.
Ben, I'd like to talk to you about it. There's
sure.
good stuff.
And I'll let you know about it when we come back. So before we end off, I'm just going to do some quick scheduling things for the actual channel. Make the Check is doing Blood Price this weekend at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and Fire Emblem Path of the Silver Wolves comes back this week, episode 2. Technically it's session 2, episode 3. You know how it is. And that's going to also be at 8:30 p.m. And then we will have the podcast same time on Monday, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to be introducing ourselves for the last time. I'm Raphael.
And I'm Justin.
And we will see you next time. Good afternoon, I guess.
And Shinna goodbye. I don't know.
And Shinna bye-bye.
Bye, Shinna bye-bye.